I became an art historian because I realized quite early on, being the curious person that I am, that looking at art and learning history was very easy on the eyes, a lot easier than learning specific dates and so forth. So anyway, I just love art and learning history through art. So in this particular course, we're going to be starting with the colonial period, and I'm going to be taking the perspective of history first and then kind of incorporating the art into it. So at first we'll be looking at colonial portraiture, because that's the first real production of art that occurred if we're talking about, quote, high art. Prior to that, people were engaged in creating signs and things that were necessary for the society. So the first art is specifically colonial. We'll be looking at folk art, and we'll be looking at what's called Baroque art. There are two different styles that developed in the United States, which have to do with the training that the artists had. Next, we'll move on to historical events and historical figures. So we'll be looking at images from the Revolutionary War, images from George Washington on to other important people in the society, and we'll talk about the various styles incorporated into that as well. Then we'll move on to westward expansion, and we'll be looking at landscape, we'll be looking into the Hudson River Valley, we'll be looking at truly westward movement in terms of the documentation of the Indian culture, primarily with Catlin, the primary artist involved in that. And then lastly, we'll be looking at, I guess, which is really one of my favorite areas, and that is American people, and what the American people were engaged in, what they looked like. We'll be taking in, again, the Indians, we'll be taking in slavery, and we'll be, just taking the general middle-class people and looking at them in images, in painting, and in sculpture to some extent. The last class, we will be going on a field trip to the De Young Museum, which will be kind of a nice summary of everything that we've been discussing prior to that. So I hope to see some of you in class, and thank you very much.